This game is so beautiful in the wintertime. The snow and the city, the people really reminds me of Winnipeg with the trains coming through the downtown area. But it's very difficult to get anything done. Winter, if it's far away, you need to make sure that the roads are plowed. And but even the most comprehensive plowing plan will sometimes be caught in a snowstorm, and everything just slows down. So that makes it difficult, but it's difficult to see under the snow. Roads that haven't been plowed, or infrastructure that hasn't been built. It's my least favorite season. I just kind of wait it out. It should be coming to an end soon, but I wanted to show you what I've been up to. I haven't made a video in a long, quite some time, and so this is what I've been up to. I've been on this map that I can't remember the name of. Uh, it's the most popular map, I believe, on Steam. At any rate, uh, I've played it a bunch of times. I was trying to figure out ways to use the native population to my benefit and build around their towns. Now I just build my own towns and steal the population. And then when my places get crowded, I put them back often because I bet I could do that now because yeah, there's 2,000 people overcrowded in here and 2,400 people overcrowded in Remember. All right, so this is probably my most successful game, and I'm just going to go over a few different things. This game was actually centered around this idea for a train loading and unloading center. It's quiet now because I've moved everything onto boats, but there was a time when this was a bustlin'. The idea was that it slows everything down when all three of these connections are linked at this hub spot. Previously, I had been running them through just like a sorter thing here. This time, each one of these three has its own three loading spots and one exit. So things can come in and load three waiting, and then when one leaves out through here, one of these can come back in, and all of this action has no impact on the other two. So those two can function as they like. So I was using one for importing iron, one for exporting coal, and one for exporting finished goods, like prefabricated panels and bricks. And so there was a time when this was quite busy, and the exit for after dropping it off for most of them, they honestly just went back this way up the hill where they came from. But it was possible that so if you were leaving here and you came out to exit, you would first go past one of the other trains that would then start to come on before, and then you duck out over here. And this was I have the signal set up so that no trains enter this section, they just wait back here. So, that was the inspiration. Coming up with this design where they can have three different areas where they feed in from so they don't get in each other's way, and an exit further back. And it worked quite charmingly for the time that I was using it. But now I use boats because boats, you can put way more on a boat. Citizen was my first city. It started off with these two buildings here and has grown. This setup for feeding these shoppers with this little warehouse trying to keep enough food is not sufficient. I was trying to avoid using the larger where's it set up? The larger storehouse, but it's pretty even this one's empty. What the hell? I'm trying to get the map set up to live for a year without importing anything, and not by massing things and then not needing to import it for a year, but by being self-sufficient. So far, the people of Citizen built this place, Hub City. This is all of the Tier 1 construction material. I've got iron, coal, gravel that are fed in. They were fed in by trains, and now they're fed in by mines on conveyor belts directly. It's distributed on conveyor belts through this area, as I've got my cement factory making cement, and then into prefabricated panels, my steel mill, the brick factory, a power plant running the whole thing, the lumber mill, and then the associated delivery services around the area. And let's see, none of the trains are in, except for the wood one. I don't have a logging industry set up, so I just import logs and turn them into boards, and the ones that I don't turn into boards get moved down here to Raccoon City. This was the second place that we built. This is where the 2 chemical factories, the advanced chemical factories, you need 2 of these guys to supply enough chemicals to 1 regular plastic factory. So that's what I've got trying to go on. Oh, and even then, did you see that? It said it was missing chemicals. So 2 advanced chemical factories, not necessarily enough to keep up. I wonder if it's these little... I'm less and less and less impressed with these forklifts. Some factories don't have too many options, but I think the next time I play this I would try to, even if it meant taking up more space, come up with a design that did not rely on forklifts at all, because they are slow and, yeah, kind of dodgy. Because, yeah, I've got have I got in both of them? Yeah, that's not acceptable. Huh. Okay, I know what I can do. Where is... Anyway, I'm not going to deal with that right now. Mental note, though. Chemical factories have got a bottleneck on the forklifts, because forklifts suck, and you should avoid using forklifts if you can. I've been using them on my food supply as well, and again, not thrilled. Not thrilled with what's going on. Did I do it again over on the new one? Yeah, I did it on the new one as well. Alright, well, whatever. It's also a question of what's better. Carrying capacity, which is 1.8 steel for the Soviet-build ones, or the American one, 1.4 in steel, but it's 5 kilometers faster. Is it better to be fast or strong? It's hard to know. I've been going with the American ones just because I like the look of them better, but let's see how this works out. Remember, I built all of Remember before... Okay, well, that's not true because I'm building more now. Over here and over here. But I built all of this, really, before anybody even moved in. It was all set up, and the heating plant, and all of that. I downloaded a mod for a geothermal heating plant. And it is somehow able to get water that is 90 degrees in temperature out of the ground. That's quite amazing for just picking a random spot on the ground. Seems a little broken. It still produces pollution, but not very much. And I'm not sure, I don't think I'm going to use them anymore. It still requires people to work at it. It produces slightly more power, or more hot water than this place over here, does it? This is 210, we've got... Yeah, so... it produces slightly more hot water than the coal power plant. These things seem super underpowered to me, though. Like, this is a large or regular heating plant, and it can barely heat. I mean, okay. Let's see. 1,400 people. So, I guess having one hot water boiler providing enough hot water for 1,400 people is reasonable enough. And it's not struggling at the moment, but let's see. Some of the temperatures on these buildings. Yeah, it's all reasonable. If the water came out of my shower at 76 degrees Celsius, I would be probably upset by that, but I've got it at 80 degrees over here, so I built this town, and it built Hub City, and then the next thing was not actually building Raccoon City, but instead up here in the mountains was building Black Lung. I expected the snow to have melted by now. Soon. This is Black Lung, the gigantic mine. It's a mod I downloaded from the Steam Workshop, and it employs many hundreds of people. Okay, well, it's a little underemployed right now. New train arriving. But it often gets up to around 600 employees digging out of the ground, which is way more than I can deal with at the moment with my current infrastructure. Part of the plan at the moment is expanding my dock so that I can export more coal, because the one ship that I've got exporting coal at the moment is not enough. Not enough to sell it all. So, coal is dug out of the ground, processed, stored, and then moved all the way down here by the conveyor belts. And then some of it is taken off. Trucks have orders to pick up coal and bring it to places around the map. Based out of here, this is the main area for aggregates. And through it, there's this other conveyor belt that comes south. Or I guess this is actually or east. Here, where I'm filling up little tiny ships with iron and then selling it. This does not suffice. I will be moving this port for sure. This one will probably stay here because this is where I purchase ships. But right now I'm working very slowly on these two docks where I plan to build my own boats. Pretty happy with the design that I've got on this little peninsula thing. But, you know, we can come back, and I've been terraforming a lot. If you're familiar with this map, this is a rough approximation of what the landmass used to look like. If you just, you know, cubismed it. But this is my farming section. Let's see. I believe last year I imported 3,000 tons of crops, and this little grain silo only holds 800, and it has never once been full. At the moment I'm importing lots of crops, as you can see, as I'm attached to a food factory that is continually producing food for this parade of trucks. And every now and then, the amount of food gets such that these fellows here pick up some of it and bring it over to the container factory, and that's what all of these containers are. Containers full of food. And I've got 3 trucks, which I guess is not enough because their containers are stacking up, that are ferrying them to the terminal. I think they might be selling them over here. I completely so this has gotten a lot better, but because I've got the trains running. But for a brief period as I was transitioning from the trains to the ships. I was relying on my trucks. I've got all the trucks set up as kind of a relief valve if any of the containers, so it's going on right now. This storage lot has gotten too full, and so these trucks have gone out and are picking up truckloads of bricks, and they will take it. Oh, where are they taking it? Oh, right. They take it down here. Oh, lots of bricks. So anyways, they drive the long drive down here to this loading station where they drop bricks off here, and where these nice big long trains pick up the bricks. Here's another one. And here it is. Take it down to the coast, where it's loaded on these nice big expensive boats that paid for themselves on their first delivery. It was quite impressive. This ship particular is the reason that I was able to make my $10 million 10 years into playing, which is nice. A container of plastic is worth a fabulous amount of money. And electronics too, although the way I've got everything set up, it's easier for me to make a shitload of plastic than it is for me to make a shitload of electronics. These guys aren't to blame. These guys are actually not bad at keeping up with this kind of production, because these guys only require, maximum production during the day, 1.5 tons of plastic, 1.5 tons of steel, and 1.2 tons of chemicals. That's right up these guys' alley. That's the kind of delivery schedule they can deal with. Alright, so this is the exchange. Overflow materials are brought here and dropped off. Materials that can be stored in the open are brought down here and dropped off by these trains. When I initially built Hub City, I was going for compact. This is everything. Steel, bricks, prefabricated panels, wood, boards, power plant. So this is pretty much everything you need to get everything being built. At least all the stuff that you get without a university. So, why am I talking about this? Oh, right, it's very compact. The goal was compact. So, the size of the trains was limited. And that went into how this was designed as well. This was the whole point of the whole deal. And I thought this was plenty of space to have a train inside of. And so I just made smaller trains. No big deal. But the way this is set up, a lot of these lots, there's no waiting space outside. So if I tell 2 trains to work in here, and this train shows up and the other train shows up right behind it, it might be sitting in the aisle waiting for this thing to fill up before it moves, causing backup. So that wasn't the design. The design was small trains doing quick shot deliveries down here and back. It's not a very far distance, so small trains is fine. Problem: switching to the boats. So you don't want those tiny trains making the journey to the dock. It's not that far, but it's too far. So instead of making the journey down to the checkout, as I named it, they come down to the exchange, where they come into here, drop off the goods that come into here, that's then picked up by these fellows, and then they go and drop it off at the trains. These guys have a bit of a fast route, and I may yet change how this is all balanced out, but it is. I was waiting for it to break, essentially. I was like, if this is a bad idea, it'll stop working at some point and I'll have to redesign it. And so far it's working really well. So, on the other hand, this is a mess. This is a spaghetti fest. And tendrils. That is tendrils. So this is all going to get redone. Uh, the other big thing about this 10-year video demarcation is, I've used no oil. Or not used no oil. I import all the oil that I use, and the fuel and the bitumen. I haven't been exporting it. It's a common crutch in this game to rely on the oil industry, as the oil industry doesn't require very much work to get it going. And it's exceedingly profitable, so I have completely avoided it and have just gone for everything else, essentially. I'm working my way towards making cars, but we're not there yet. First, I'm going to adjust this landmass some more. I'm going to probably deconstruct both of these, adjust this out, because if you're familiar with this map, this area here is a giant oil field, and while I haven't dug any out of the ground yet, I fully intend to. Oil. So, I've got a bit of a buffer. I'm like, not much. Like, there's more oil out here, but I just kind of arbitrarily said that, alright, I'll extend it out to here because there's a lot of oil here. So I would like to be able to drop a tower here. But I'll draw the line across like this, redo the train system so that it's got a better storage system, although, again, it is actually working. It's just a bit clumsy. But, this is a nice, I like these things. Putting your stuff into containers is the bee's knees. At first I scoffed at the idea. Why would I bother? But even if you're delivering things to the border on trucks, it is... See, I've got two of them here, because they get kind of glitchy sometimes. Even if you're dropping them off at the border, it is an almost instant unload. Normally, if you click on the trucks, you can see them burn down, like this guy's burning down right now. Why is this guy delivering here instead of here? That's interesting. You should not be doing that. You should be coming down here. Customs house, waypoint. Both of those can go. I do want to still keep that on. This is another funny trick that I've learned. I may regret that, but we'll see. Wait, which one did I... Yeah, open goods drop off. Alright. You may be able to drop off faster if they're directly in here. I don't know. But... here's the steel train. Perfect example. Oh, I've deleted the example. Never mind. Well, let's do it to the steel train right now. So, you add a stop on the steel train's home on the steel train, and you tell it to pick up bricks, and you wait for it to be fully loaded of bricks. And so it will load itself with steel right now, drop it off at the drop-off spot, and then come back here and try to load bricks. But there are no bricks, so it will just sit there and wait. And instead of depleting your steel supply, the train will sit there waiting for bricks, and then you can come by and tell it to go make a delivery, and it will make one delivery of steel. And it's a way of just kind of like metering it out, because even at full capacity, which this is, well, that's bad. Is there a problem at home? There's a problem at home. What's going on? Where's my population at? There is a huge... this is annoying. This is where my population's at. I've got 8. So, you need to be careful when you're building things in your city. Some buildings have massive capacity for workers. So, I built this radio station, and now instead of going to work by going to the train station and going down here and, working at the steel mill or the power plant, everyone is just piling in here. And if I want to fix the situation, I need to decrease the number of workers that are allowed to work at the site. But if I start clicking this button, it takes a while before I even get close to firing anyone. There we are, now we're firing people. Alright. So, this needs to change, Mr. Developer Man, if you're watching. You're not. But I like to think maybe. I mean, really, how many people does it take to do this place? It's probably only going to take 50 guys. And I really don't care if it takes 40 years to build. It won't. Ugh. Anyways, I had the same problems going on over here. Yep. 900. 900 dudes. How's the train station? Train station's still fine. There's 500 people there, so I don't care. 900 people can go to work making the television station, so long as the railway station still has hundreds of people at it. Because the plastic factory needs workers. And so does the crate loading place. I was worried that these trains would not be able to keep up, but they are more than a match for it. And this crate loading facility is more than a match for all of the excess that is produced at my various factories. Except here, what's going on? Bizarre. I really don't understand what's going on. Sometimes, so this export is stuck at 7 tons. This warehouse, oh yeah, it is going up. But is it going up faster than or as fast as they make new ones? I feel that that is likely the case. So what am I supposed to do? Alright, 7 tons, cool. Let's set up, is this a garbage? It is a garbage team. This is perfect, alright. We'll go load when they are 50 or more with the chips. Bring them to the fucking... Oh, perfect. Perfect. Alright, yeah. New garbage team. Our new assignment for the garbage team. The animation on these jointed trucks is a little funny sometimes, but I appreciate the capacity. Oh, the tunnel's done. That looks a little janky. But the tunnel's done. That's nice. That took a long time. I have decided that, oh yes, I guess the other thing. So, the people of Citizen started Hub City, then they went up and built Black Lung, and then after that, they came over here and built Irony Shafts. Each area has its own power plant, as the mining operations require quite a bit of power, and I just sell the extra power down the line to my comrades. So, win-win. I run the plant at near capacity, and everything is just dandy. I've only recently taken this plant off of selling. It's at half capacity at the moment, but it peaks sometimes. And probably when everybody gets back to work from finishing this, it'll go back up. But I was selling electricity here from this plant, but now this plant is running pretty much all of this. So I have no idea what I'm doing with farming. I've learned that you can use the distribution offices to pull crops off of fields and drop them off wherever you want. So that is going to influence any rebuild of the farm industry that I have. I have switched all of the mechanisms over to just the combines and the sowers. All of the trucks are now off in an adjacent building, which is great. I'm really going to try and see this year how the crops do. There's not very much storage in this place. Let's see. Hopefully, this thing just gets crazy full really quickly, or something. I don't know. I'm not happy with how this is. There's a natural hill on the map. It's kind of hard to see from this angle. Let's see. There's a natural hill right here. And if I had built the farms like this, they'd run along the natural hill, and then I could run. But anyways, I built them along the game's 45-degree angle lines. Whatever, it's fine. I've got all of this weird cubism. So I've become a big fan, I think, of establishing a small construction site at the site of large construction jobs. So this whole project required maybe 5 loads of asphalt, so I never bothered building an asphalt plant up here, but I built a concrete plant. I just truck in the cement for it. This storage facility is the small one, and it is no way up to the task. If I was to do this again, I struggled through building these things off of this little tiny thing. It does not suffice. Also, this place back here, not a great idea for building large projects, but it wasn't as big a deal as the smaller storage. But, c'est la vie. But yeah, you build a small construction site on the site of any major area that you're building. Like when I built, remember, I built this construction site to build it. Learned my lesson, got the bigger yard, and they still had to drive over here for asphalt and concrete or cement, but it sped up an awful lot of it because all the steel deliveries just came from right here for all of this work, so this area went up really quickly in a summer, really. So that was nice, and now it's overcrowded by 2,400 people. So I need a whole other town just to deal with it. Huh. I was, sort of planning on putting in another micro town. The idea is to have it, because I've got the university here on the end, I can have residences in here that do not cross over into this area at all, except for this road at the back. They can be close enough to, like, reach the university, or maybe, this plant, or the gym and the hospital, but nothing else. And then they can have their own grocery store and everything in here and be a separate compartmentalized entity, and I can use that population for something separate. Initially, the train station here was connected down through to this ring, but then trains just started kind of getting confused and lost, and trains that were supposed to be coming over here on very simple shunt lines started showing up here. And I think it mostly had to do with the fuel If depending on where they were running out of fuel, they might find path to this as being the nearest one, and then the nearest turnaround was blah 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 blah. Now it's a little bit more simplified that these guys are on shunt lines, and yeah, I think it's looking pretty good. This is my most successful city or republic by far. We're making money. There's no oil involved. I've got a pretty good industry. Got a nice statue on a hill up front. Looking at our main entrance. I'm glad to see that there's no trucks here. It was actually I didn't want to record a video when I had it, but there was trucks backed up all the way back to here, making deliveries of everything, trying to get rid of the overflow. I think that's what, well, some of these are fuel supply trucks that run out to all the various gas stations. They are only here to avoid the delivery charge, which varies. But they run fuel out to all the various gas stations and refuel centers as are needed. Remember is built a lot better. I learned a lot of lessons over this area. There used to be a road across here, but it was just a constant traffic jam. Same with this ring. This used to be a nightmare of a traffic jam all the time. I've got it to a point where it works. It is still fairly heavy traffic. This area is always pretty heavy traffic. It's the area where all of the everything is made. So, there's always trucks driving around picking up concrete. I've learned to embrace one-way streets. Next time I build one of these, it will be many more roundabouts, large proper roundabouts, and the train lines will be nowhere near any of my roundabouts or my roads. I will avoid the two of them completely, because I've got a road back here that's kind of getting used, but I could come up with a design where the road runs through the center and the trains run around the outside. Except the one thing that I did like about running the train through the center is I built the whole area around this one rail station. So the rail station drops off people here and people can walk to everywhere. And then I realized that I forgot the asphalt plant and I stuck it on at the end. People couldn't reach the asphalt plant, so I stuck in another railway stop. And then I realized that it was better for the steel mill. I think we're up to 400 people at the steel mill. It's better for the steel mill to have people getting off first right near it and not making a super long walk, because that's time that they could be working and not walking. So, pretty good efficiency at the steel mill. And so I turned the trains around. They used to run the other way, now they come this way, and this is the first stop and this is the second stop, as opposed to the way it was initially. So little tweaks, and yeah. These trains are really slow. I may sell them and upgrade them. I've got trains that are twice as fast. Nearly. They're like 90% faster. And Remember, yeah. The citizens of Remember live in a much nicer city, I think, kind of. They got the television station as well. Citizen only got the radio station, but they're more like, look at this. So happy, so well fed, so well looked after, they don't give a fuck about the government. What? I'm the reason they're so happy and well fed and looked after, and they don't give a... So anyways, propaganda machine is going to be getting rolling right away, because I've got soccer fields all over this place, and all kinds of entertainment for everybody. Nobody gives a shit about God, because you've got all the pants you could ever want to wear, even if they're all imported. So, the goal is to get through a year without any imports. At the moment, I am importing quite a bit of things. Bitumen, of course, for all the asphalt. I shouldn't be importing panels, but that was probably me getting wanting to finish something quickly. Same with boards, although I do import wood. Wait, what? I should not have been importing uranium oxide. That is very bizarre. Where did I import uranium oxide from? Huh. Can I find resources? I can. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, there it is. What the hell? What the hell? Why did I import uranium oxide? I don't like this. Anyways, I'm gonna have to figure that out. That's a fun mystery to track down. Why is there uranium in my kingdom? Somebody planning something suspect? But I do have pretty much everything down in this little tiny section of the map. The plan is to bring this map to the point where my computer won't load it anymore. I always try to do that in every city builder I've ever had. I've never had a computer this nice, but this game is also a lot more complicated than a lot of the city builders that I've played in the past. So we'll see. We'll see what comes to an end. The amount of RAM that I purchased, or my patience. So anyways, this is an update on my Republic. The various little tricks that I've got running on. I tried initially to connect all of these buildings together into one big, massive mega factory for producing things, and then I just shifted away from that, and I've got a chemical and plastic factory, essentially. But other than that, I'm just shunting stuff around on trucks because the total production of these places is not so high as to make me really need anything more. Although I need something more than these friggin' forklifts. It's very disappointing. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this entire playthrough has gone through. I also recommend continuing to export things like gravel. Even if it seems a little bit silly and not very profitable to be exporting gravel, if you're later on in the game going to be using the quick build button, getting the price of importing it down as low as possible is pro player move. Nice. I need to get more ships for exporting coal and iron, because I have got an abundance. I've also kind of got plans in the back of my I've got plans in the back of my mind of opening up 2 more steel mills. We'll see how it goes. They would be put in somewhere around here, but the pollution is creeping in on Citizen now. Where is my... There it is. So, the pollution's creeping in from the north. Dun dun dun. What are we going to do about it? Eventually, it's going to creep over here, and I will probably have to pack up and move. I can imagine this entire lower plateau eventually getting to the point where even Remember is being abandoned and supplied with a population that lives down here, essentially. I'm going to do some work making the coast pretty and put houses down on the waterfront so people have nice houses down on the waterfront and they don't need to worry about all of this ugly agriculture. I like this strategy of also putting trees around, so, you know, if you can't see all the ugly behind it, it's a classic Canadian strategy for dealing with clear cutting. So, yeah, there we go. I think that's pretty much everything that I could think. I mean, I could talk about this forever and all the other little bullshit that's gone on with making it, and how annoying it is to have buses waiting in line to drop off their workers, and then their workers time out and vanish just as they're getting there. It's so annoying. But anyways, it's beyond the point. I've got these train stations. They work well enough. It's essentially the limiting factor on how big I built these towns. I let this town get bigger because it was going to be a double feed. It picks up from both sides. This one was kind of thought it was going to be that, but then it messed up. But yeah. Citizens of Remember work up in the Iron Mine. Citizen work up in Lung. Remember also works down in Raccoon City. And Citizen work in Hub City. So it's a very divided area. The people of Remember definitely have way better jobs. I would rather work in an iron mine than a coal mine any day, and I would rather work in an advanced chemical plant than a brick factory or a steel mill. And better yet, working in some machinery factory or an electronic assembly hall. So the people of Remember, I wouldn't be surprised if they're happier than the people of Citizen. Let's see. No, they're both... The people of Citizen are less healthy, though. Oh, no, wait. Both are pretty... never mind. They're pretty indistinguishable. Anyway, that's my game. Thanks.